Hey, it's Freddie Cruz, and you ought to know by now that every week, twice a week, I put a spotlight on the businesses, organizations, individuals, and places that make the greater Houston area great. One such place happens to be one of my favorite places in all of Houston, the National Museum of Funeral History. It is huge. It is amazing. Go for the hearses and the coffins. It's an extensive collection. And stay for exhibits like the Dia de los Muertos exhibit, which, by the way, is all year round. And of course, their Veterans exhibit. You're going to love what you see when you go by the National Museum of Funeral History. President and CEO Genevieve Keeney-Vazquez is joining me once again on the show to talk about these two topics. To book your visit and to learn more about the museum itself, go to nmfh.org.
Hi, I'm Ed Sheeran. This is Bruno Mars.
Hey, it's Katy Perry.
This is your man Flo Rida with Freddie Cruz.
This is AJ Mitchell with Freddie Cruz.
Freddie Cruz.
Freddie Cruz.
Tell you go pick Mr. 305 and you already know what it is.
My name is Freddie, and it's time to cruise through HTX.
I'm Genevieve Keeney-Vazquez, the president and CEO of the National Museum of Funeral History right here in Houston, Texas, and the host of The Final Curtain Never Closes.
The publishing date of this episode is November 2nd, which also happens to be All Souls Day, which is the second portion of the Dia de los Muertos celebration that is held worldwide, specifically in countries like Mexico and others in Central and South America. But the National Museum of Funeral History honors Dia de los Muertos all around the year.
When you come to the exhibit, you're going to see some very fascinating things. It's very, very colorful, lots of detail. And then there's an altar with a lot of items on it. And these specific items all have a meaning, believe it or not. If you see a donut on the altar, that symbolizes the circle of life, that we live and we die and life continues on. And the Day of the Dead really is to celebrate the ancestors who have passed before us. Cemeteries are a time for family to go and clean it up, put down fresh flowers, and also have a feast to celebrate with their ancestors who passed before them. So, interesting enough, there's a lot of festival-type themes in a cemetery that are with the Latin American families. So if you go into even some of the cemeteries here in Houston, and you go to some of the sections that are very ornate, a lot of colors, and especially in the month of November, if you visit these cemeteries, you're going to see this celebration going on amongst the family. Again, it's there to celebrate those who have passed before them.
And of course, you can take an even deeper dive when you visit the National Museum of Funeral History. Coming up in November as well is Veterans Day, November 11th. And here, Genevieve talks about the origins of the holiday in which we pay tribute to those who have served for our country.
Veterans Day marks the ending of World War I, the fighting that ended at 11 a.m. on November 11th of 1918, the 11th hour of the 11th day of the 11th month. And this day has become known as Armistice Day, a day of truce, of laying down the arms. As a veteran myself, I understand the significance of this holiday in celebrating all those who have signed up to serve their country and fight for our freedom at a moment's notice. There are times when I receive a thank you for my service on Veterans Day, but there are also times I receive a thank you for my service on Memorial Day. And I'd like to point out that there actually is a difference between Memorial Day and Veterans Day. So why do I find it odd to be thanked on Memorial Day for my service? Because I am still living. I did not die for my country. Although I was willing to die for my country, I am still alive. Therefore, my holiday is Veterans Day, and Memorial Day is the holiday where we remember all of those who sacrificed their lives for our freedom.
And we'd be remiss if we did not mention the special gift that the museum has for veterans who visit.
So we honor our veterans on Veterans Day by giving them free entrance into the museum the week of Veterans Day. So that'll be from November 5th through November 11th. If you come in and show your ID, usually most veterans have that designation on their driver's license, or they have a VA card given to them from a VA facility. Or if you have your DD-214 with you, be proud of that DD-214. Bring it in and show your pride. We would love for you to have free entrance into the museum to enjoy all of our amazing exhibits. But most importantly, enjoying our Veterans exhibit, which showcases Arlington National Cemetery, as well as 9/11, and a very interesting luggage cart that was used to carry the remains of the soldiers who lost their lives during war. This baggage cart was painted green and only used for the human remains of our service members. We also have a fascinating collection through pictures of the original dedication of the Vietnam Wall. So yes, please, veterans, come out and show your pride and visit the National Museum of Funeral History on Veterans Day.
That wraps it up for this mini episode, and a special thanks to Genevieve for once again being a guest on this podcast. Y'all, please, you owe it to yourself to visit the National Museum of Funeral History. Check them out on the web at nmfh.org. Next time you're in North Houston, Spring, Conroe, Woodlands area, you've got to go and pay my friends at the National Museum of Funeral History a visit. In the meantime, if you enjoyed this episode as much as I did putting it together for you, please consider leaving a review on your favorite podcast platform and signing up for the newsletter at cruisethroughhtx.com. And while you are on your favorite podcast platform, follow and subscribe to the museum's podcast, The Final Curtain Never Closes. Thank you.